game of poker is played by over 140 million people worldwide. A group of Texan gamblers brought the game to Las Vegas in 1967, but they could never have imagined the scale to which it would grow. Much of that growth is attributed to an accountant from Tennessee. In 2003, Chris Moneymaker won $2.5 million at the World Series of Poker. Not a bad return for his investment of just $40. Millions more people thought so too, and the poker boom had begun. I've been playing poker for over 3 years, and on the internet I've won about £1,500. But now that I'm coming to the end of university and supposedly entering the big bad world, I have to ask myself, do I up the stakes and try and play poker for a living? Or do I fold that idea and just keep it as a hobby? Most people would love to make a living out of one of their hobbies, but is there just too much luck involved in the game for me to think about pursuing a career from it? Throughout the documentary, we'll be cutting back to me in an online poker tournament to see the ups and downs I'd have to go through every day if I decided to make a living out of the game. It's cost me $22 to enter, and if I beat over 10,000 other players, I'd take home a first prize of a cool $32,409. But first, I'm going to take you through an exclusive how to play Texas Hold'em poker session. Everyone is dealt 2 cards. Then everyone takes it in turn to either match the blind shown here, or they can fold. Once everyone has acted, 3 community cards are dealt called the flop, that everyone can include to make their best hand. Then there's another round of betting. Then another card is dealt, called the turn. After that betting round, the final card comes called the river. To win the pot, you have to make a bet that everyone folds to, or like in this case, have the best hand at a showdown. 2 pair jacks and 4s beating a pair of 8s. So back in my tournament, luck is shining on me early on, as I get the best starting hand you can hope for, pocket aces. Frustratingly, this time no one wants to play with me. Nevertheless, I'm off to a good start. While I hope luck continues to shine on me, I caught up with some people who hope Lady Luck is equally as kind to them. Everyone here at the Palace Casino on the Isle of Man has paid £50 to enter the Sunday night tournament. With only 7 of the 55 entrants getting in the money, that leaves 48 with a bad beat story to tell.
I had to make a decision. Either you had to flush, all my 10s were good. Everything was lower.
Unfortunately, the river card was a club, so he hit his flush. So knocked me out, although I was ahead. But never mind, that's poker.
One of them had pocket aces, and one of them had eight ace. So I didn't stand a chance.
I was short stacked. I had a jack and a 3. I had to go all in because I had no money. The other guy went, he had a pair of queens and he hit a queen.
I can't fight with you. Got nothing.
Where there are losers, there have to be winners, and a tense final table is formed. Getting unlucky at this stage is all the more heartbreaking, but poker can be a cruel game. Even though the ace-jack will win the pot over ace-9 75% of the time, the favourite doesn't always win. 4 became 3, then soon after we were heads up. 2 men had outlasted the field, but only one could take home the first prize. Local resident John's ace-high beat his opponent's king-high to earn him £1,150. So I'd seen a lot of people throwing their money down the drain, which puts me off the poker idea. But I've also seen the sweetness of victory, which makes the idea all the more intriguing. I saw lots of examples at the casino to remind me how much of a gamble the game is. And I'm reminded in my tournament as well, when my night's earnings rest on whether or not an ace or king comes on the last card. Roughly a 12% chance. I get lucky this time. But what about the people who have to go through nail-biting moments like that every day? The people who play poker for a living.
When my lady settled down, as soon as she settled down, the laptop goes on, the computer goes on, and I start playing. It sounds daft, but I'm not a gambler. You know, I've had the odd occasional flutter on the horses, but nothing to the extent where I'm at the bookies 2, 3, 4 times a week. Poker is my only vice. Yeah, it's the only game I play. I like to think that the skill factor, the strategy in it is what entices me to play every time.
I don't want to go into a profession where luck completely dictates how much I earn, so I wanted to see if the skill factor would prevail as I pitted full-time poker player Carlos against rank amateur Henry the cameraman. Here's how they match up. Carlos's biggest live tournament win was £41,000 in the Grosvenor Poker Tour. Henry's biggest is £4, his first and last game to date. Online, Carlos has won $11,000 in one tournament. Henry's never played for real money online, but does boast 4,000 play chips. The chips fly back and forth, and when Carlos doesn't make his flush, Henry takes a 1-0 lead.
I explained that as to beginner's luck.
The second game goes to the form book, as Carlos's pair of threes is enough to level things up.
Oh, you were robbed. Absolutely robbed.
I feel robbed.
You should do.
The decider brought a cruel sequence of cards, and a 9 on the river gave Henry a better 2-pair, and the amateur had conquered the pro.
What a river. If anybody asks, you beat James Jameson.
This proves poker truly is a game where anyone can beat anyone, which means doing it for a living can be risky business.
Last year I made a small loss. For a full year, you know, playing poker, and to come out of it with nothing is not good going. You need to be making 30, 40, 50,000 minimum a year just to justify it. Depends where you live as well. I was forced out of my job, made redundant, so it was a case of me throwing all my eggs in one basket and going for it.